Hello, Charlotte.
Hi, Edmund. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thanks so much for joining. I want to take a moment to introduce myself, and then I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. So, my name is Edmund Zagorin. I'm co-leading a project with the AI Objectives Institute, and we're so excited for the AI Supply Chain Hackathon. And I want to ask Charlotte, you're a passionate expert in supply chain. You have such an incredible background. Could you share a little bit about that? Who are you, and what's your background in procurement and supply chain?
Absolutely, Edmund. Well, my name is Charlotte DeBrabandt, originally from Switzerland, now based in the US, and I've worked across 5 different industries, always in supply chain and procurement, from automotive, tech, medical devices, consumer goods, pharma, across 3 continents, US, Europe, and Asia. And throughout my experience, I've been gaining very much hands-on procurement supply chain experience in optimizing supply chain processes, negotiating billion-dollar contracts, and managing procurement operations. So this background has very much equipped me with a very, I would say, comprehensive understanding of all these complexities and challenges within the whole supply chain landscape.
That's such an incredible background. I love your passion, and it's been so great to hear from you over the years and to get to know you. And so I want to now ask, like, how did you come to learn about the cancer drug shortage in the supply chain, and what kind of led you to experience this?
Well, I would say, firstly, my awareness of cancer drug shortages grew throughout my involvement in the whole supply chain field, just because it is my passion, whilst working on procurement strategies. And I encountered instances where the availability of critical drugs for cancer patients like myself became a very significant concern. And this sparkled all of my interest in understanding the root causes and exploring potential solutions to address these shortages. And especially me going through chemo for the last 10 months and encountering all of these hands-on conversations with other patients that we only have 2 weeks left of this one particular Taxol or carboplatin in the US. These are conversations that I would say should be concerning to all of us in any level of the whole supply chain.
I mean, I think it's just astonishing when you think about how sophisticated and robust so many of our supply chains are, that we have these shortages. And in talking with you, one thing you brought up, which I thought was fascinating and also so tragic, is how the increased prevalence of cancer could be playing a role. For those that are not working in supply chain, could you maybe explain a little bit about the concept of the bullwhip effect and how it might be relevant for our discussion today of the shortage in cancer drugs?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the bullwhip effect refers to, I would say, the amplification of demand fluctuations, right? And as they move up the supply chain, where there is a sudden increase in consumer demand, we have small variations at the retail level that lead to more significant swings in orders at the wholesales, manufacturing, and raw material levels. And demand surges, they very much, I would say, influence these effects, causing inefficiencies and disruptions in the supply chain as each participant in the whole chain overreacts to perceived changes in demand.
And I just want to double click on that. For you personally, in your journey, what was it like to receive your cancer diagnosis and then experience this shortage firsthand in the context of seeing how many people are now getting cancer?
Yeah, just a few years ago, it was 1 in 7 women, for example, getting breast cancer. And right
Mm.
now, it's 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 women. And I got diagnosed with the age of 35, February 3rd of this year. I was in the peak, the climax of my career, just joining a global VP role for a large organization. And after so many years of very much only focusing on my career, writing my 9th book, being a TED speaker, last year having 80 talks globally in the field of supply chain management and very much being a thought leader with passion. And my heart is always set, has been set in my career. And this very much took the rug under my feet, and it was absolutely devastating. And how do you stand up and how do you keep going? And then furthermore, as a supply chain expert, learning about these shortages in the market. I mean, that's just not normal in our century, where there's so much money all around and people are looking at innovations and constant improvement and continuous benchmarking of medicine. How can that be even relevant that there's 2 weeks left of a certain chemo drug? So that very much struck my attention, and that's the reason I'm personally engaged in this hackathon and personally believe that we need to make a difference out there for all these patients. It doesn't matter what age group, it doesn't matter what cancer. Any cancer, any stage is crucial to make sure that we have accessibility to these chemo drugs.
Well said. And I think the passion that you described this with is palpable. And I think also the sense of frustration as well. Why does it have to be this way? And I think a lot of people, whether or not they're in supply chain, who look at this situation, have a similar reaction. Why does it have to be this way? And so I want to now ask just a quick question, because we are talking about AI and the role that AI is playing in the supply chain. We, as looking at digital technology in the supply chain, we see it making these decisions move much faster, which I think we're very excited about, getting some of the red tape out of the way. But also, as we know about the bullwhip effect and communicating demand much faster as well, how do you see AI as potentially accelerating help to this crisis, or potentially amplifying it further if not done correctly?
Good question, Edmund. Well, AI has the potential to both accelerate but also reduce supply disruptions, right? And through all these advanced analytics also that Orchestra is focusing on, AI can forecast demands more accurately, more than ever before, and allowing for proactive adjustments in production and also in the whole inventory levels. So I would say AI-driven technologies can enhance visibility across the supply chain, enabling quick identification and resolutions of potential disruptions happening, and also the whole effectiveness of AI. I think that will also propel implementations and data quality in the future.
Well, I think it's a huge promise, but it's also a huge risk. So I really hope that people who are practicing AI and working in supply chain can have a conversation about what the right way to implement this technology is.
Yeah.
I think if you have one takeaway or piece of advice or suggestion to your colleagues in supply chain or people working on this issue, especially about the shortage in cancer drugs, what would you have people come away from this with?
I would say my advice for those passionate about fighting cancer drug shortages is to prioritize collaboration, building strong partnerships across the entire supply chain, and especially from the whole manufacturers, but also to healthcare providers. It's just crucial. And additionally, also providing or embracing technology and innovation such as AI and data analytics that can significantly enhance the agility and resilience of the supply chain, ultimately contributing to the whole goal of ensuring a consistent and persistent, reliable supply of critical drugs for the pan-cancer patients out there.
Well, I think that's such an important call to action for all of us. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time to share your perspective, to share your story. I'm excited for the hackathon. I'm excited for you to get to see what some of the teams are working on, and just really appreciate as you're going through your journey with not just, of course, supply chain thought leadership, but also chemo and your own health. I think we're so grateful just for you that you're open to share your perspective and your thought leadership throughout this time.
Thank you, Edmund, for really allowing me to share my story, and I want to contribute in the whole insight and just be able to foster collaboration, and maybe we can all generate an impactful solution together out of this hackathon. So I'm very excited.